Good morning, you guys. It is day number 56 of my Stay-Batical to 50 100-day journey just for Jimmy to prove to himself he's capable of doing something like all the things I'm doing to produce body transformation, mindset change, all the things, and to observe what is happening. So thanks for joining me on this journey. A lot of you have been here every day, following along in my progress. I do go out on a morning walk in the mornings, currently around 7:45 a.m. Eastern time, because that's when the sun is just now starting to come up. I remember early on when I started this Stay-Batical, I got out pretty early when the sun was still coming up at 6 something, and I got out a little bit earlier than normal, and it was dark outside, and somebody said, "I can't see you." So I come out when the dawn of the sun coming up is rising. So welcome. If you are brand new and you've not watched this live or on the replay, I am on a 100-day journey that includes a whole protocol of things that I've come up with to try to produce those body transformation changes, or at least get them started, mindset changes, and then just watching what happens. So one of the things I do is what I'm doing right now, a 60-minute walk in the morning. And when I first started this, September the 1st was when I began, it wasn't near as cool as it is now. So now it's cooler. I'm not only getting the walk, I'm getting some cold thermogenesis at the same time. So 60-minute walk a day. When I get back from the 60-minute walk, I pop into an infrared sauna. Lately, I've been going about half an hour in the infrared sauna. After the sauna is done, I go into either a cold shower or ice bath. Sometimes for time's sake, I have to interchange those. I do have a Morozco Forge. It's an ice bath tank on the way. They're a little bit behind in production. I just reached out to them yesterday. Hey, where's my ice bath? I bought this thing in August. Still not here. So it looks like there's 10 customers in front of me, and they told me it would be a couple more weeks. So I was like, all right, I'm just anxious, because going to Sam's Club and buying 20-pound bags of ice is a little bit rough. Is the video still frozen? Dawn says the video's frozen. I can't tell on my end. But what else do I do? After the ice bath, I do red light therapy. So I stand in front of my Juve light, usually for about a 20-minute session. I have done 40 and even as long as 60-minute sessions, and I try to rotate, so it's not all on the front, not all on the back. I just kind of rotate around while the red light's on, and obviously naked, so I can get all of the exposure on my body. I also meditate. I just finished a 10-minute session, so I go on YouTube and type in guided meditation and turn it on and do a 10-minute meditation. It's really good. I also, when the sun is up and out in the middle of the day, oh, thank you, Arturo. He says the picture's perfect. Appreciate that. I go out when the sun is up and ground in my backyard amongst my chickens. And I just basically do a quiet meditation with my bare feet in the ground, again, completely naked, letting all the sun hit my body, for all the reasons why sun exposure is good for you. And then I do a vibration plate. So it's this machine, you turn it on, and you step on it, and it vibrates your whole body for lymphatic movement. So that's the protocol of the physical things I do. And then on the odd days, I am eating carnivore primarily. And then on the even days, I am fasting for at least 24 hours. So that's the protocol. That's what I've been doing now for 56 days in a row. Okay? I want to talk about a topic here today that I think is just so important. When you're on a journey, don't come up with a plan for your journey and think it's not shiftable. If you're going to be successful on any plan, there will be moments when you need to make adjustments so you can keep going strong. And my original protocol had all those things I just mentioned, but two other things that I'm not currently doing. One of the things was a second 60-minute walk each day. So I would do the morning walk, talk to you guys, and then later in the day, I would be doing the second walk, usually talking to a friend on the phone, listening to music, listening to podcasts, whatever. I cut that one out because if you'll remember at the very beginning of this journey, I was having a lot of little nagging injury things starting to happen. And I remember talking to an exercise physiologist friend of mine, and he was asking how I was doing, what I was doing. I said, yeah, I'm doing all these things. I'm doing 2 60-minute walks a day. And he said, whoa, you're doing what? I said, yeah, 2 60-minute walks. He said, Jimmy, I do 2 20-minute walks a day. You're probably doing too much. Maybe back off to just the 1 60-minute walk. And especially in light of my ankles giving me a little bit of trouble, my right one especially, probably was not smart to be doing 2 a day. And this trail I'm on has several really big hills. Probably not smart to push your ankle. And even at the time when I talked to him, my back was still hurting. He says probably not smart to do those 2 in a day. So I backed it down to the 1. The other thing that was a part of my original plan with this Metabolic to 50 was I was going to flip this tractor tire I have. I have a 200-pound tractor tire. I love flipping tire as a workout, but because of the back issues and because of the instability of my lower part of my body, especially my ankle, I don't think it's wise until that strengthens up, heals up. And so those are 2 things that I had on the plan to begin with for this Metabolic to 50 that I had to make adjustments to. And it's so important, guys. It's better to adjust and modify and make it so you can still be challenged but do something than to not do anything at all. I think so many of us have this all or nothing mentality when it comes to our health. We think, well, I have XYZ happening and I need to do 1, 2, 3 to fix XYZ, when maybe all you can do is 1, 2 and halfway to 3. Are you going to get benefit if you do 1, 2 halfway to 3 to deal with XYZ? Yeah, you are. And you need to remind yourself of that. That doing nothing is probably the absolute worst thing you can do when you have issues going on. Be it weight, be it blood sugar issues, be it gut health being off, inflammation. It's better to do something than to do nothing. It's like those people who come to me, I can't do keto. It's too much, too fast. I'm like, all right, cut out vegetable oils and cut out sugar. Can you do that? So they can still have starch and whatever to start. And you incrementally get them there. You adjust them to get there. And what ultimately happens when you do that? You start with one thing. They start feeling better. They start seeing improvements. They're able to do things that they're like, whoa, what else can I do? Well, let me tell you, try cutting out grains and starches. See how you feel. They do that. They feel better. Whoa, what else can I do? And then you start talking about some of the lifestyle things. Like what I'm doing right now. Just go on a walk. Get sunlight exposure in the eyes and on the body. Ground yourself. De-stress. They get benefits from that. Wow, what else can I do? You see what I'm saying? So they keep adding because they were willing to adjust at the beginning. or adjust along the way. Do you guys find that when you're in the midst of a journey, making modifications, making adjustments, they help keep you going? The only adjustment I don't want you doing if you start a journey is just completely stopping. When you completely stop, you completely give up. That's not an adjustment. That's an about face. That's a I surrender. I don't give a shit about my health. It's just not worth it, blah, blah, blah. That ain't allowed. But moving things so that you can keep going in your journey, that is allowed. That is actually a part of it. Anybody who's been on a journey will tell you they start off pretty strict. They loosen the reins of a few things here and there. Sometimes they feel so good with the changes, they add in a little more, and then they may need to back off again. But that is the ebb and flow of a journey. You always need to be making adjustments. And if it's hard just because you're putting in effort, that may not be a reason to adjust. But if you feel a twinge of pain, obviously, adjust. If you feel like you're overexerting yourself and you need to back off a little bit so you don't need a extra rest day. That's what happened to me early on. I was doing so much so fast that my body was like, what the are you doing to me? And I actually needed to take quite a few rest days early on in this journey. And then I'd feel guilty about that. I now honor those rest days. But last week I had one rest day. I rested on Saturday. Did every other day of the week last week. So that was cool. And this week, that's my same goal. If I can get through the whole week with one rest day, I'll be okay with that. It's why I don't plan the rest days, because sometimes your body will tell you when you need the rest day. Not some date on the calendar. That's not going to tell you when you need a rest day. Your body will give you very clear signals. And look, the rest day is part of making adjustment as well. As long as it only is a rest day. Sometimes people take a rest day and then it turns into several days and then it turns into weeks, months, and then they're done. They never get back on it again. So, do you make adjustments when you're on a journey? I want to hear from you guys. As always, these walk and talks, they are as much a part of your interaction with me as it is me talking. It's a lot more fun when I can bounce off of what you say. But I would love to hear what you think about this idea of making adjustments to keep going. I think it's the key to get to the end. And a lot of you guys here, it's day 56 of my journey. A lot of you guys started your own journey on 6 days ago. So this is day number 6 for you. I want to know how you're doing on your journey. Talk to me a little bit. Let's hear what's going on in your world, on your journey, as we are on day 56 of my journey. All right, let's go back to the top. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for always being here. Good morning, Sharon. Gummy Bear says 120 minutes does seem excessive, especially with the extra weight on your body. That puts a lot of pressure on the knees and your ankle. I would do one walk or 2 20-minute walks. Yeah, the one big walk in the morning actually works best for my schedule. Plus 20 minutes would be so obscenely short for me. I'm used to doing these long walks. Plus this trail I'm on now has become a barometer for my progress. If you watched yesterday, then you know I went further on this trail than I ever have. Meaning I'm getting fitter and I'm getting stronger. I'm able to walk faster. None of that's by accident. It's because I've been out here doing all the things. And so, yeah, that was fun. So we're going to see how my pace is today. My right ankle's giving me some fits today, so I'm trying to fight through it. But you're right, Gummy Bear. 2 60-minute walks, it was putting a lot of pressure on that ankle especially. And so I try to give it therapy. I rub CBD oil on it. I wrap it up. I ice it. I'm doing all the things to try to nurse it, to try to help with that. But I'm still out here. That's the main thing. And what's funny is early on in the walk, like I am right now, it's still cool and everything. But as I get walking and get that blood pumping, by halfway through the walk, all the pain that I'm feeling in that ankle is gone. So I think that means it's not really something bone-wise that's hurt. It's just a little creaky in the morning. I guess it does come with it being almost 50, so it is what it is. But I refuse to let it hold me back. And look, if the adjustment is I have to limp a little bit to get the walk in, then I do that. And that's what I do. Selena says, does fasting for more than 3 days reduce your metabolism? You mean slow down your metabolism? Is that what you're talking about? No, actually, there have been some studies on this. I wrote a book about this topic, by the way, The Complete Guide to Fasting with Dr. Jason Fung. And 3 days of fasting actually does something pretty miraculous that you wouldn't even expect. It actually revs up your metabolism. That's right. Doesn't slow it down, it revs it up by as much as 12%. So that is a myth. The body is very well adept at even the most sugar burnery of sugar burners. It will shift you into a fat metabolism state, and it will actually boost that metabolism. I think because it's lowering the glucose and the insulin, and the body's having to work to shift over into making ketones for energy. That's why your metabolism gets boosted. No, you're not eating any calories, but you're also not eating anything that would be detrimental to your metabolism, vis-a-vis junk food and fast food and things like that. So, no, exactly the opposite. And then in that 3-day fast, you're getting so many benefits. You're getting growth hormone boosting. Excuse me, I'm at a cross section and I never trust these people not to run me over. So growth hormone is boosted. Obviously, you get autophagy, a cleaning up of the dead proteins just floating around in your body. You get so many benefits from a 3-day fast, and definitely revving up your metabolism is a big part of that. So hope that answers your question, Michelle. Debbie says, I do 6 days a week and 1 day off for movement. I love it. That's beautiful. Yes, move 6 days a week and 1 day off. That's been my goal all along as well. Because I know early on people are like, are you factoring in having a rest day? And I'm like, I'm not putting it on the calendar if that's what you mean. But I do assume that sometime during the week, I will need to take a break from doing all the things. And look, that's part of making adjustments. People see it as anything less than the perfect protocol they came up with, that they failed. You've not failed. If you do it with intention, with a purpose. When I take a rest day, it's to rejuvenate my body so that I can come back strong the next day. And look, if you take 1 day off and then you're able to come back strong the next day and do it for 4 or 5 days in a row because of that 1 day off. Whereas if you didn't take the 1 day off, you would go down, 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 which is better. Which is better for your body rest and come back strong, or push through it, no rest, and slowly decline. I think it's obvious at this point which one's better, right? Michelle says, proud of you, thank you. I think more than anything, I'm proud of me. I have needed to do this for a long time, and I have wanted to do this for a long time. I needed to be in the right place mentally to make this happen, and I am. I'm there now. Still learning things, going through this journey. Part of the goals of this journey was not just physical body composition changes, but also mental, also getting in touch with a lot of the things I've learned over the past 2 years when I was tried really hard, emotionally, psychologically, mentally. All of that hit me really hard the past 2 years. So these last few months I've been transitioning from, okay, I'm in a better place mentally now. What can I do physically to challenge myself? And thus was born the Staybatical to 50. So I turned 50 years old on December 27th, and I want to be in such a better place physically, mentally, and in all the ways. In many ways, it's almost like a rebirth of myself. I kind of lost myself, not just the last 2 years, but maybe the last 5 or 6 years. I think I lost who I was. I didn't really have my life. Other people were living my life. I was somewhat going through the motions. I was getting more and more miserable. And through that stress of all that, was getting bigger, not feeling my best. There's one reason I went away on sabbatical 2 years ago. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was I was drained and I needed to make a change. That's all I definitely knew. And so the sabbatical actually revealed a lot of the emotional stuff that needed to be dealt with. And then it took 2 years to deal with it all. But here we are, a new day, 2021, rocking it out, living my best life, trying to encourage you to do the same. Too many people still going through the motions of their lives. Too many people complacent with where they are, unhappy with where they are, unwilling to let go of things because those things are just so familiar. How could I let them go? How could I move on? How can I go become what I want to be? It's so scary. It's so hard. I don't know how I can make it. Take it from somebody who went through all of that. And I'm out the other side. And I can confidently tell you it was the best decision I ever made to deal with my stuff and to move on in my life, to find that happiness. And more important than finding happiness, finding Jimmy and knowing who I am. And now living, warts and all, I'm not perfect, but living who I am in my true self. There's no greater feeling, you guys, than to being authentically who you are. And the moment you're not living authentically who you are, you're not living. You're living someone else's life. You're living a lie, if we're just going to be honest about it. If you're not living your authentic self of who you are, what you believe in, sorry to be so preachy today, but it's on my heart. If you're not being that person that you are deep down inside, no secrets, just let it all hang out. If that's not who you are, you're living somebody else's life, not your own. And I did that for many years. So I get it. I get the allure of that. But break free from that. You will feel incredible when you do. Okay, preaching over. Angie says, I've been adding more steps through August, September, and October. I'm up to 9 to 10,000 average from starting at 2 to 3,000. That's awesome. Now I'm considering adding rest days as well as resistance training, 62 years old. That's great. Yeah, I'm probably going to rejoin the Planet Fitness gym now that they don't require masks anymore. And so looking forward to that. Hey, ladies. And so, yeah, I got an email from Planet Fitness yesterday. Come rejoin for just 25 cents. And I'm like, oh, they're desperate for people to come back. I think a lot of people stayed away because you had to wear a mask while you worked out. Jimmy, don't wear a mask, Jimmy. Jimmy don't like masks. Can't breathe. And it's a trauma response when I'm wearing a mask. Nope. It feels like my dad has his hand over my mouth and nose again when I wear a mask. He used to put his hand over my mouth and nose while he beat the shit out of me. So a mask is very traumatizing for Jimmy. And I don't care what mask Nazi people say, I ain't wearing a fucking mask. So now that they've lifted that mandate, I may try to go back because I do want to start building muscle, getting stronger. And I know that's going to help with a lot of the body composition change goals. I never imagined in the 100 days that I would see me go from the belly to abs. It just wasn't going to happen. But the purpose of this sabbatical has been get the ball rolling so I get in a habit of doing something positive for my health. And besides the nutrition, that's been dialed in for years now, almost 4 years carnivore now. But getting the physical aspect of it going. And if it takes a 60-minute walk to get it going, here we are. So I'm considering the gym, getting back in that gym again and adding in weight-bearing exercises. What's ironic is I enjoy lower body work. So I enjoy leg day. I really like leg presses. I don't know how my ankles will respond with a leg press, but we'll take all the precautions, pay attention to pain and all that jazz, just to make sure we're doing it the right way. Berkeley says, being too rigid or inflexible will sabotage anything you want to accomplish. Better to adjust to the circumstances and obligations and continue to move forward. Better to fall 100 times and get up. Yes. That is so right. That's kind of an encapsulation of exactly what I'm saying here today. You gotta adjust. You gotta be willing to be flexible. And no, you haven't failed if you adjust. You just adjusted. My friend Brittany did the 75 hard recently, and she came into a lot of adversity in the midst of her journey where she was in a lot of pain in her back, and she couldn't quite do all the things that she had been doing at the beginning of the journey. So she adjusted, and that's what you do. You make the adjustments. Not adjust just to make it easier, but adjust so, okay, I got it. I got through it. I did something. And that's the moral of the story too. Adjusting is about doing something as opposed to doing nothing. Because doing nothing is not an option. Doing nothing is not on the agenda. Don't even allow it to come into your head that doing nothing is an option at all. Just don't do it. Don't allow it. Let that thought go. You'll be better for it. Keto Carney Jen says, I love when you preach. Well, I don't like to preach at people, but sometimes I have passions in my heart that if I don't get them out, I'll burst on the inside. So sometimes there's things that I have a heart to say, and it's all in love for you guys. I have never said anything on here as an accusatory thing. It's always with your best interests in mind, because I've been through the school of hard knocks with a lot of this stuff I talk about. And if you've been through stuff, it makes you want to talk to people and be real with them so that they know your heart and why you're busting your ass on a journey like I'm doing right now. And as I say that, my right ankle is tweaking like a MFer, so it's hurting pretty bad. So I'm going to flip back around right here. I got almost to where I did yesterday. I can see the street, which was the halfway point yesterday, but my ankle just buckled on me hard, and now I'm limping uphill. So you keep going. I adjusted by not trying to push for the new halfway point. Look, I don't always reach the same halfway point every day. I look at the clock and I'm right at the half an hour now, so not going to injure the ankle. I'm just going to modify, limp a little bit till it loosens up, and then we'll get back at a good pace. All right. Alice says, I love Planet Fitness. I've been doing the red light vibration plate thing after my workouts. Oh, they have that there at your gym. Mine's a little rinky-dink Planet Fitness. They don't have all that stuff. But yeah, I was going there till I ran into some financial issues, and I had to cut. I don't have cable or DirecTV or anything like that. Had to cut a lot of expenses because last year nearly killed my business. Had I not cut way back on expenses. And so 2021's been a little better, but not much. Been a little bit better. I know you guys relate. But you keep trudging on. You make adjustments. That's what I did in my finances. I made adjustments. I cut down the cell phone bill to the bare essentials. I cut down and cut out various things. I had to adjust a lot of the foods I wanted to buy. I made decisions to get cheaper cuts of meat. So you do what you got to do to adjust in every area of life. So this applies not just to your health journey, but to any part of a journey in your life. Kira says, I train every day. I went to Vegas and got awful without my training. I know many people, including my trainer, wants me to rest, but I hate rest. Well, I get that, Kira. And you're a type A personality like Jimmy, where rest is for wimps, is the mentality. But I've shifted that in my head. And I'll tell you what helped with that was, before I went away on sabbatical 2 years ago, I went 15 years in a row of go, 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 go in my work. And because I refused to ever really stop and rest, I ignored parts of my life that needed to be dealt with. I allowed myself to get wore down, to get less than. And now here I am 2 years later, still picking up the pieces a bit. I've worked on the emotional part of my life and gotten through the worst part of that. And now I'm on the physical part of my life, in the midst of dealing with that. I can just tell you, the rest is worth it. And the rest is just as much a part of the journey. We don't want to hear that message when all we want to do is go, because we see go as the key to getting the results we want. But the pause, which is what a rest day is just as much a part of that. Go, 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 pause. Go, 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 pause. And it's those pauses that allow you to keep going. And it took me a long time to learn that. A very long time. And I get it. You felt like crap on the days that you were off. Maybe you go lighter that day rather than completely pause. Maybe make it a, what they call that, active rest day. Do an active rest day. And I think you would get great benefit from that. Because eventually the body will start to break down if you don't honor when it needs that rest. But I am proud of you that you've got that go get 'em attitude. That's awesome. Jen says, change is scary. Change can be scary. Change can be challenging. Change gets you off course of all these things you have in your head about your life. But ask yourself this question. If your life is so peachy keen and everything's going so well, why would the thought of change even come in your head? I think that thought of change is probably like the first clue that you get that you need to change. But we always suppress it. We always suppress that compulsion within us to change. Why? Why do we do that? The thought came there, and especially if you start dwelling on that thought, it's there for a reason. I can tell you, when I was making the decision to go on my sabbatical 2 years ago, that was hard. I was like, what will happen? I'll go away for 6 months, and then I'll come back and nobody will remember me. Nobody will care. That was my thoughts that made me hesitate about the change, about making this decision. And then, well, what if I go away and I like it and I don't want to come back? That was another fear in the head. But I guess you guys know I have too much to say to not ever come back. So many things, you guys. And then when I did come back, 2 weeks later is when the pandemic started. And everything has been chaos pretty much since then, with the changes happening. And so sometimes we instigate change. Sometimes changes are thrust onto us. Change is the only constant in life. How ironic is that? Change is the only constant in life. Pretty much everything that we get comfortable with eventually changes. Do you have the same life that you had 10 years ago? I don't. I don't have the same life I had 2 years ago. And I'm happy about that, by the way. Change almost invariably means you're not comfortable, you're not settled with where you are right now, and you know there can be better, or the potential for better. And that's what I remind myself of often, so that change is not scary, Jen. It can feel scary in the moment because it's unfamiliar. But sometimes you make a change and you go, holy crap, I wish I had changed sooner. Change in and of itself only seems scary in the moment. But if you look in hindsight at most of the changes you make, you're always like, wow, I'm glad I made that change. I really needed to make that change. So yeah, guys, if you're just joining us, I'm on day 56 of my Stay-Batical to 50. 100 days, you guys, I am on this journey, attempting body transformation, mindset change, and just observing what happens. And so one of the things that I do as part of this journey is I come on the Instagram Live. I see my friend Christina just got here. What's up, my dear? And I come on the Instagram Live to encourage you guys to just talk from my heart. You guys know if you watch these either live or on the replay, I don't hold back anything. I just bleed from my heart because I feel like that's the only way you can be real with people, is to share your heart. So I want to hear from you about this topic I brought up here today, making adjustments to keep going. When you're on a journey, have you found that to be helpful? I have learned that you're not going to be the hero if you come up with some protocol and the protocol is not quite working for you in terms of you're getting overexhausted with a physical thing, like what I did, doing 2 60-minute walks a day. And it took me experiencing it, realizing it was overtaxing my body, and then learning to back off the second walk. Now, if I wanted to walk a second time from time to time because I felt good, absolutely I would do that. And I have done that. But most days my right ankle's giving me fits, and so I'm working on that, getting stronger and healing up. But what adjustments do you make? How has this helped you? And does it keep you going? Or are you stubborn about it? You push through pain for a period of time, and then eventually you say, well, that sucks, that's too much, I'm just going to quit. I think a lot of people choose that latter option way more often than we realize. And I'm here to tell you, doing something, if you don't remember anything from this today, doing something, anything, is better than doing nothing. Because the doing nothing is not going to do anything for you, but the doing something will do something for you. Good morning, sir. So that's my edification to you guys today. So give me your thoughts. I still have quite a bit of the walk left, so let's make this interesting. Give me things to talk about. And if you have a general question, I'm happy to answer those as well, but always interested in the topic at hand. Alice says, my problem is I work out and don't give enough. I'm satisfied in the moment because I know I did something, but afterwards I'm not satisfied and know I should have done more. Look, I think you've identified the most important part of that. The most important part of that sentence and statement that you just made is you're aware of it. So Alice, if you're aware of it, it's an easy fix. Push harder. Push harder. Be conscious of that. Because if you're knowing that you're not pushing hard enough and you're getting that regret that you didn't push hard enough, ask yourself why. Why aren't you pushing harder? And look, all of us, no matter how hard we push, can always push harder. I think it was David Goggins that had the quote, when you have pushed yourself what you think is as hard as you possibly can, most of the time you're still at only about 40% of your capability. 40%. So, Alice, if right now you're only at 15 to 20%, just get to that 40%. And don't try to kill yourself the first time you do it, but just be conscious. All right, I know how I've been pushing myself or not pushing myself. Let me be conscious to do that step up, that notch up from where I did. And get good at that. Feel good with that. And then the next time, a little more. And the next time, a little more. And it won't be long before you're right where you need to be. So just be kind to yourself. But also acknowledge that you've been coasting a bit and ask yourself why. Is whatever your goal is worth that extra effort? I think you would say yes. I think you would say, that's why I'm doing it, Jimmy. And so if it's why you're doing it, make the effort. Put in the effort. I'll give an analogy with a relationship. Let's say you got married and you talked to your spouse one time a day. Just once. And then the whole rest of the day, quiet. How's that relationship going to work out? The other person's going to get frustrated, right? They're going to be like, wait a minute. This isn't the goal of our relationship. We need to get to know each other. We need to hear each other talking out and knowing each other's lives and working through things. So then you add a couple times a day. Okay, that's better. And then a little more, a little more. In other words, the more effort that you put into it, the better reception you will get towards that goal you're looking for. So, stop only talking to your body as your relationship one time a day, doing that really light exercise, and start building that relationship with your body, honoring your body, giving it the credence that it deserves, as something flies in my eye. It's all going to be helpful in the end if you put the effort into it. My adjustment needs to be to work harder. Well, the fact that you know that means you're well on your way. Well on your way. My friend Christina says, start tiny. Yes. Although I had a bad joke pop in my head, I'm not going to say it out loud, Christina. But yeah, start with little goals and work your way up. Start with not just full blast killing yourself, but working your way up. And Christina's a fine example of this. She travels, or has been traveling quite a bit this year. And I'll see her in a hotel room getting in a workout. And it's sometimes not your traditional, but she gets it in. Whereas a lot of people go away traveling and they let things like that go. But you didn't do that, Christina. You kept doing the things that you knew you needed to do and wanted to do to meet your physical health goals. And it's very admirable. Del Norte says, Zone 2 train with heart monitor helps regulate your workout. I'm not familiar with that. I have heard of wearing a heart monitor, but I don't know what Zone 2 training is. I think it's where you're keeping your heart rate at a certain level so you're not getting too high, and it's definitely keeping it up so you're getting the cardiovascular benefits. I'm only assuming. I've just never heard it called that before. Angie says, I pushed through in the past many times. Occasionally I fell off the wagon, but learning always and applying that learning. Yeah. Look, you're not going to be perfect with it. There will be moments when you need to push harder. And then there'll be moments when you need that pause, that rest we talked about earlier. And it's not a perfect scenario. When this happens, then you should do this. Sometimes it's just a gut instinct thing. Just to honor that. Honor when your body gives you signals. And that will serve you well. T. Spencer says, that's good right there. Well, thank you. We try to provide interesting information for you guys. If nothing else, you get little nuggets. Nuggets of truth, nuggets of inspiration and motivation. That's my goal when I come out here. Plus, I get to pass the time talking to you guys while I'm doing my morning walk. I had a friend of mine I talked to yesterday on the phone, and she said, do you do those Instagram lives just to pass the time and be distracted? I'm like, how did you know? Yes, but also I feel like I've got a lot of things to share. And you guys keep coming back and watching these videos and watching them live, watching the replay. So you must like them too. So I'm glad. Snoochie says, good morning. Hello, my dear. Parkman says, top of the morning to you, Jimmy. The Irish in me says, top of the morning back. I did one of those Ancestry.com where you're from genealogy things several years back. And 70% Irish. I guess that's not surprising. My mom was a redhead. I've got freckles all over my body. And I actually got to go to Ireland back in 2015. And I did a speaking gig in London. So I went the week before the speaking gig and looked at the castles throughout the UK. Got to go to Stonehenge, which is just south of London. Then after there, went to Ireland and did some of the touristy things. Was in an Airbnb that ended up being a room in an apartment complex. And the man and the wife, they both busy professionals working at some really high-paying jobs. And I was like, you guys don't need the money. What are you doing an Airbnb for? Oh, it's the only way we meet new people. It's like, wow, okay. So we hung out with them. And what was funny about that story is the lady of the house, when I got there, she asked me what I did. And I said, well, I'm a podcaster and author, blogger. She said, oh yeah, what about? I said, well, low carb diets, kind of like the Atkins diet, keto diet. And she's like, well, I'm a vegan. And I went, I was like, vegan. And wouldn't you know that before we left, we went out they said, hey, we want to take you out to like a hamburger place. And so I went there, and would you know, she ordered a hamburger. We made her not vegan by the end of that week. I think she heard me talk enough and we had enough conversations that she was like, all right, I think you've sold me I need to be eating animal foods. And the fact that she went right for a burger as her first option, a lot of vegans go to eggs or fish. She went right for the jugular. She got the red meat. I was like, yeah! So that was fun. And then after Ireland, popped over to Scotland, right next to the big castle there in Edinburgh. So, yes. I forget why I got into that story, but it was in the mind. I'm going to share it. Kira says, redheads rock. Well, yeah. Duh. Parkman says, do we get chicken nuggets? Hey. Ain't no nuggets coming out of here. No chicken nuggets, that is. I prefer my food to be real, my brother. And chicken nuggets are not on the menu. Unless you do some homemade. And I don't know. I don't really like to eat chicken, per se. I always get hungry after I have chicken. It's the weirdest thing. It's why I love red meat. It's why I love my grass-fed meat. Pork is a close second to the beef. I do like chicken, like a rotisserie chicken and things like that, but I don't know, I get hungry quicker after eating chicken, so I try to avoid it. Even like the Thanksgiving's coming up soon and people have turkey. Same thing. I get so hungry after eating turkey. I don't know if it's the leanness of it or what, but don't do well eating fowl. So yes, day 56, you guys. Still on this sabbatical to 100 days, you guys. I'm at this, and you guys are on day number 6 that started the challenge that I put out there last week. This is day 6 for you guys. How are you doing? How's it going so far? Are you still doing the things that you challenged yourself with? Are you running into any problems with that? I definitely want to hear from you. And any final thoughts you may have about this, making adjustments to keep going I think it's critical. It's better to keep going and going at a slower pace like I am right now, limping. My ankle is giving me fits, you guys. But it's better to adjust and get through it than to do nothing at all. It would be easy to just not do anything. And I'm hoping the lesson you're getting here today is do something. Don't just sit back. And I can't do the full blast, so therefore I'll do nothing at all. If you can't do the full blast, do the modified of the full blast. And that modified will serve you well. Promise it will. It will. Well, you went completely silent on me. You gonna make me end this early again? Any final thoughts before I pop off of here? I will remind you that if you enjoy these walk and talk videos, I've been doing these for the past most of the days, 56 days. I don't go every day. When I take a day of rest, I don't come on live. If I'm traveling, I don't come on live. But all the other days I do come on live in my morning walk. So go check those out, livinlavitalowcarb.com/staybatical. So that's my website, or if you just pop on the main page at llvlc.com, there should be a clickable link to get to all the Staybatical content. Of course, you guys know I do podcasts as well, so yeah, you can go check those out. One Step Deeper on Mondays, Living La Vida Low Carb Show Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Real Talk on Thursday. Try to put out content that I think is interesting for you guys. So how about biking for you instead? I did do the bike, and somebody else mentioned biking yesterday. I'm not opposed to doing biking. I love, when I was a kid, Karen, that's what I did. I rode my bike everywhere. I think that's how my legs got so strong, because I've got strong ass legs. My problem is I don't trust these drivers around here, and there's not really a nice place for bikes. There's not like a biking trail to bike. There's some crazy drivers around here, and they do not respect bicyclists. But I would have to go buy a bike. And again, not opposed to it. But that's what's held me back. If it was more of a biker-friendly town, I would easily be bicycling. I do enjoy bicycling. That wind on your face, you know, Karen, you bicycle all the time. It's really nice. But for now, the walking works. And I do enjoy the walking. Especially doing it with you guys. Helps me pass the time. Del Norte, I use 2 different cardio stationary bikes, and I run. If running causes pain, I'll go to the bike. I have done sprints on a stationary bike. That high intensity interval training, pretty easy to do on a stationary bike. Go all out for a period of time and then rest, and then all out for a period of time and rest, so forth and so on. Hang on a second. There's a guy doing trimming work. Morning.
How you doing, boss?
Hey, how are you? See, people are friendly in South Carolina. We say hi to people even when we don't know them. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? That's how we roll in the South. Snoochie says, when will you be traveling? So, I went to 2 biohacking conferences during this sabbatical. One was in Orlando about 5 weeks ago. And then the other one was in Miami, Florida. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So between now and December the 10th, I don't have planned travel. So all of that is behind me now. When this sabbatical is over on December the 10th, I'm thinking about taking a cruise and getting away for the holidays. I just think I need that. I need to get out of my town. I need to get out there and living some life again. It's been kind of depressing. I'm all by myself, and I love the work I do, but I'm missing interaction with people, and I'm seeing a lot of my friends taking cruises again. I think they've lifted the restrictions, having to wear a mask and showing a hokey pokey passport and all this stuff. So I'm considering that right now as an option. Walking is better for your bone strength, says Berkeley. Well, that's the good news. My bones are pretty strong. Every time I've gotten a DEXA scan, the guy reading it says, "Dang, your bone density is incredible." I said, thank the carnivore diet and all these years of walking and putting in the effort. Because my bone density, people talk about being big boned. I literally am big boned. Confirmed by a DEXA scan. And that bone is heavy. I'm not worried about osteoporosis anytime soon. So that's good. Lady Lixel, I'm continuing my 4 to 10 minute walks. I have slowed down the pace a bit. Needing to grow stronger. Slow pace wins my race. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You adjusted, and getting in the consistency is your key right now. And if at some point you feel good, you want to step it up, you step it up. Like yesterday on this walk, I went the furthest I've ever gone in 30 minutes. I didn't quite make it there today. My right ankle has been giving me fits, so couldn't walk as fast. But those days you can, you push. Those days you can't, you adjust. So I'm proud of you for doing that, Lady Lixel. Karen says, I listen to you on my drive to work. Well, thank you. Hopefully I provide little nuggets. I mean, there are some days the night before I go, what in the world am I going to talk about tomorrow? I don't know. And then I come up with a topic and it's just like you guys respond to it. It's great. You guys have definitely made this worthwhile for me. I love the interaction we get to have here. Snoochie says, sounds like a good plan, that cruise. Yeah. I've never gone on a cruise by myself before, so that will be interesting. But I've been on a bunch of them. I led the low carb cruise for 13 years. I'm no longer a part of that, but I do miss that camaraderie, being on board with people, meeting new people. I think it could be good, and especially around the holidays. I don't really have a lot of people in my life. Since my dad and I don't talk anymore, my mom and my sister, we're still in touch. Woo, sorry. There was a car coming. I didn't see it. She was quiet. Angie says, find a cruise ship with a good gym, stationary bike or rowing machine. Oh, all the ships. All the Carnival and Royal Caribbean ships, they all have very good gyms. I mean, really, almost like Planet Fitness style gyms. So, yeah, no problem there. That's for sure. Ad infinitum, you're good for always throwing those little monkey wrench questions at me. So, got another one for me. Do dental issues only happen from carbs? I have a history of dental and periodontal issues. Look, I think if you look at the work of Weston A. Price, who was a dentist, he will tell you that in the traditional cultures where they ate real food and they ate mostly animal foods, fats and proteins, yes, they had a few carbs, but unprocessed carbohydrates is what they ate. their teeth were perfect. They never had any dental issues at all. But it was when they adopted the westernized styled food system with all the carbs, sugar, grains, that's when their teeth started going to hell. So yes, I do think there's some negative effects that come from eating the carbs. But yeah, there's a lot of good dentist people out there now talking about teeth health. And of course, your teeth health being out of order impacts your cardiovascular health. We have studies on that as well. So go look up Weston A. Price, and you can see a lot of his work. And there's this guy that calls himself the paleo dentist. You might Google him and see if you can find his work as well. I know he's on Facebook. Yeah, I think you'll learn a lot. I went on a cruise by myself. I will never do that again. Oh, Kira. So you're saying I need to find somebody to go with? All right. I can see how it would be kind of a bummer unless you knew some people, and a cruise is so anonymous. Although in my personality, I'm sure I would make friends. Just go to the karaoke room and shake it up, baby, now. Twist and shout. I'll have them in the palm of my hand. Just kidding. All right, guys, let me pop off of here for now. Again, day 56. Stay batical to 50. We are still rocking and rolling. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as always, I'll be back again real soon. Bye, guys.